Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here, and before I show you the pictures that are linked above me that I can't pull down, I wanted to talk a little bit about an idea I recently saw on a YouTube forum discussion about mega evolutions for the Eeveelutions. Um, and a bunch of people saying, well, if we're going to have an Eeveelution mega, for one of them, they should all have megas, or none of them should have megas. And I had an idea for, instead of a mega evolution, a mega Eevee. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy because Eevee isn't even fully evolved, so hear me out. I think having an idea for a mega Eevee would be really cool. The only problem is what would happen when it evolves. Gary had an Eevee, but we only saw it like 2 or 3 times in its Eevee form before it permanently evolved into Umbreon. And in the games, we see that, well, especially Fire Red and Leaf Green, we see that the rival's Eevee adapts depending on which starter you use. If you have, say, Charmander as your starter, then your rival will have Blastoise as his starter. Sorry, Squirtle evolving into Blastoise as his starter, and will have Jolteon as his evolution, or her evolution, whatever. Doesn't matter. But basically, depending on what starter you have will depend on the evolution. And in my opinion, I think it'd be really cool if a main character or a rival, whether it's in the anime or the games, had something kind of like an Eevee like that, adapting, but better. Imagine a trainer with only one Eevee, no other Pokemon, but it's a special Eevee, maybe with like an alternate color eyes or something like that. Similar to the spiked ear Pikachu or this Pikachu colored Pichu that can change evolutions at will. Now, this would be a programming nightmare, I know, but we already have something similar with the Protean ability of being able to change types at will, and with the multi-type ability. Um, and so with this special Eevee, it can be whichever of the currently 8 evolutions is necessary for the situation, but is the trainer's only Pokemon either in the game or the anime as a balance. I think having such a something such as a Mega Eevee or a multi-type Eevee or even a Protean Eevee would be pretty awesome. It would prevent the other 7/8 of the fandom for getting pissy when either it evolves in canon or getting pissy when one Mega comes out and none of the rest do. And it's also really nice because if you don't like what your Eevee is, you can change it to something else. It's not locked into that forever. And I realize this would be kind of like a programming nightmare, and people already complained when Mega Evolution came out that Pokemon was turning into Digimon. Well, guess what? Being able to evolve and de-evolve is even more like Digimon, but that's okay. So I'm going to show you two images from DeviantArt that kind of have the idea of what I'm thinking of. The first is by Bananas Inc., and it shows what it would look like if the Eeveelutions kept that Eevee look without turning into the full evolution. And so if you had an Eevee with Protean or multi-type or something, basically I don't know exactly what to call it, but those two abilities kind of are the closest right now to what I'm thinking of, and you would simply maybe change its color. Similarly, I think the Flare, a lot of people say that since Flareon looks the most like the original Eevee, that Flareon is the quote-unquote natural evolution. Maybe just changing color from brown to black, brown to yellow, brown to blue, something like that, rather than actually transforming into a full-on evolution. I don't know exactly how it would work. The other idea I had would be similar to this Fuse Corp by Dragonith, and he calls this Fukuzion, which is essentially a Eevee evolution. That it's base vanilla Eevee evolving into this kind of, basically it looks like a shiny Eevee that has one tail for each evolution. And I think this looks really cool too, in that basically this natural evolution as opposed to being evolving any other way. Like, let's just say it's, when your Eevee gets to level 30, regardless of friendship or whatever, as soon as it hits level 30, it automatically has the capability of evolving into basically something like this. It looks like a little bit older of an Eevee, and maybe it has Protean or it has multi-type, you know, and with the ability to change elements depending on your attacks. Maybe it's able to learn at least one move from each type. Maybe it can learn Absorb, Confusion, Dazzling Gleam, Water Gun, Fire Spin, Discharge, I think Ice Shard, and I don't know, Bite. Basically like lower level moves, like lower power moves from each type, rather than having full-on Blizzard or Dark Pulse or Leaf Blade or whatever, the crazy strong moves. So that's just an idea I had. I think it'd be really cool. It doesn't, obviously it's not going to exist because doing something like that would be pretty difficult for the series to do, and it'd probably be a programming nightmare. But I think something like an Eevee being able to change its type, even if it's an Eeveelution, a specialized Eeveelution like this one, being able to change the type at will, that way you can basically have all 8 Eeveelutions in one Pokemon would be pretty awesome. Heck, I'd even be okay if it's kind of like a thing where you have the Carbink evolving into Diancie. It'd be this Eevee evolving into like a legendary version that can do this. I'd be okay with that. Just it's a cool idea I came up with, and I think it would be just a unique thing to have in Pokemon. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, I'm Metagross Freak, and oh yeah, post what your favorite Eeveelution is. Personally, my favorites are Leafeon and Sylveon. I hope to hear what you say too. Bye.